Hello grade 10s, welcome back to another video. So in today's video we'll be going through this revision booklet for term 1. This will help you answer questions in your upcoming first term tests. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the video. So this revision booklet will cover micro environment, market environment, macro environment, business functions, interrelationship between the environments, and the concept of quality. Now I have previous videos where I've covered the 3 business environments and the business functions, interrelationship between the environments, and the concept of quality. You can go through them, and then after that reconcile that with the notes that you have from your teacher in class, and then you can answer these questions. Now the first thing we're going to look at is when they ask you the meaning of micro. Micro means small. So when you define or elaborate, split marking will be applied. So 1 mark will be awarded for the fact and an additional mark for explanation of the fact. So remember, so defining and elaborating is a middle order question. We have lower order question, which is like name what. So you just name things, 1 mark each. But for middle order question, you define, you elaborate, and then there are higher order question. But now we're going to deal with middle order question, where they are saying elaborate or explain something. So let's look at the meaning of micro environment, and split marking will be applied. So micro environment refers to an internal environment. For you, having internal environment is a mark in an organization. So it's an internal environment of an organization, and it consists of activities. So there are activities within the business itself, okay, and management has complete control of the micro environment. So you answer in full sentences when you're asked to define and elaborate. Every sentence should be complete. 1, it refers to the internal environment in an organization. It's a full sentence. Consists of activities within the business itself. It's a full sentence. Management has complete control of the micro environment. That is a complete sentence. So as you know, the components of the micro environment: vision, mission, goals, objectives, organizational culture, organizational resources, organizational management and leadership, organizational structure, and the 8 business functions. So let's say indicate which of the following refers to objectives, goals, vision, and mission. Vision and goals are the same. It's where you want to be. It's just the goal has a time frame. In 5 years time, in 3 years time, in 2 years time, this is where the business wants to do. A vision is an overall goal. You want to be the leading fast food chain in South Africa. We do not have a time frame. That's what we are working towards as an overall. It's a vision. Now objectives and missions are how to achieve your goals and visions. Now let's look at concept. So you need to, in 3.1.1 to 3.1.3.1 to 1.3.4, you need to state whether it is an objective, a goal, a vision, or a mission. Okay, so the description says the dream that the business wants to achieve: to be the world's best, quickest service restaurant. There is no time frame, but it is what the business wants to achieve. So that is a vision. And then 1.3.2 says clear direction, clear directives for how the business intends to achieve its vision. And then how the business intends to achieve its vision. And then let's read at the example: to provide outstanding quality service, cleanliness, and value, so that we make every customer in every restaurant smile. That is what a mission. This is how the business will achieve its vision. And then 1.3.3 says long-term plans of what the business wants to achieve. So a long term, it has a When we say long term, is plans beyond 12 months. So it has a time frame. So it says, for example, says to dominate the fast food industry globally within the next 5 years. So it has 5 years, it has a time frame, it is a goal. And then for 1.3.4 says short term aims that the business wants to meet to achieve its long-term goals. So how does a business achieve its long-term goals? Through a mission to employ an additional 1,000 people by the end of the month. That is a mission. Helpful tips: you should be able to identify a vision or a mission statement, a goal and an objective from given scenarios. So still on the middle order question, what is the purpose of organizational culture? You can be asked, what is the purpose of organizational culture? Outline, explain or discuss. That is how the question will be phrased. They say outline, or they can say explain or discuss the purpose of organizational culture. What is an organizational culture? That's what you have to know first before you explain it. So they say you must outline, explain and discuss. You explain as if you're explaining to your grandmother who does not know what is organizational culture. You learned from school and now you have to explain to your grandmother in a way which they will understand. Okay, so meaning you go into full detail. So the use of action verbs determine the response required and the marking principle that will be applied when assessing a response. So when they say outline, full marks will be awarded for correct response in full sentences. So when they say explain or discuss, split marking will be applied. So let's look at an example. When they say outline the purpose of the organizational culture. Organizational culture refers to the organization. So organizational culture consists of different groups and people working in a business. So it influences the way people in the organization interact with each other, as well with organizational culture. Organizational culture influence people's attitudes, you see. So a positive culture helps the staff to be productive. A negative culture will not allow workers to will not make them feel important, which may cause conflict. So a negative culture will cause workers to not feel important, which will cause conflicts. So when they say outline, this is how you're gonna do it. They're gonna give you 2 marks for full sentences. Outline, make full sentences. Explain, you just explain. Okay, so you can just write a paragraph. When they say you can explain, it's not anything wrong with that. So let's talk about organizational resources. So when we're talking about a lower order question, these are questions that don't have a lot of marks. It's like name the organizational resources. So let's look at this activity here. You name the organizational resources. We have the organizational resources is human resource, physical resource, financial resource, and technological resource. So when they say you must just name, it's 1 mark. But when you ask to explain, you will name and explain. You will be given 1 mark for naming and 1 mark for explaining. So when we look at the icons here, number 1, what type of organizational resource is number 1? This is a physical resource. It's within the organization. It's the building of the organization. So it's a physical resource. Number 2, we have computers there. So that is a technological resource. And then number 3, we have human resources, and then on the last one, number 4, that is financial resources. So you should be able to identify the organizational resource from given statements or scenario. Okay, the organizational structure shows different departments in the organization and how they are organized. It also known as an organogram. So importance of business organizational structure is that is also known as a business organogram. So it is an organizational structure that shows different departments. That's why it's important. So what is the importance of organizational structure? It shows the different departments in an organization and how they are organized. So with regards to organizational structure, you can be asked: outline, explain, discuss, describe the purpose, importance of a business organizational structure with specific reference to an organogram, which means you should draw an organogram. So this is what you say: every business must be organized in a structure to know where to report to who reports to who. Okay, each person's task and level of authority and responsibility must be indicated. So the structure should indicate the flow of assignments and feedback, and the flow of communication in the business should be clearly indicated. So the organizational structure is also called an organogram. So examples of an organizational structure: this is how you explain what is a business, an organizational structure. So these are 5 points. And then organogram, here we have board of directors at the top, we have chief executive officer, who is the CEO, we have the marketing manager, operational manager, administration manager, finance manager, human resource, production, customer service, sales, and advertising. So we have done a complete organogram. So in this next one, we will be dealing with market environment. So market environment, let's look at the questions that can be asked with regards to market environment. The first one, it was questions that they can ask you with regards to micro environment. Now we are looking for market environment. Okay, let's define the market environment. It is the environment immediately outside the business. The market environment is close to the micro environment, and the management has no control but can influence the market. So those that are outlined is that you need to have environment immediately is a keyword, outside the business, market environment close to the micro environment. So management has no control but can influence the environment. So components of the macro environment. So that was the market environment. Now we have components of the macro environment. This is a typing error. This is still components of the market environment. Okay, we have consumers, which are clients and customers. We have suppliers, intermediaries, which are middlemen. So watch my previous videos where I explained in detail what are intermediaries. We have competitors, who are people who sell the same item as you. The other organizations or civil societies, like non-government organizations, regulators, strategic allies, and unions. So components of the market environment. What can you be? These are the components. So what questions can you be asked with regards to components of the market environment? So you can ask to outline, describe, explain, and discuss the components of the market environment. So this is how you discuss it. You will name them. A customer, the components of the market environment. We have customer, suppliers, intermediaries, competitors, and other organizations. So for consumers, you will say consumers are customers, buyers that buy the finished product or services. A consumer who buys a product or service from a business is the business customer. So consumer market can be subdivided into markets for durable products, semi-durable, non-durable, and services. You know the durable, semi-durable if you do economics. If you don't, I have an economics video, introduction to economics, so go check that out. Suppliers include factories, suppliers of goods or services. So what you do, you don't have to write exactly what is in here. You just explain what is a supplier, you explain what is a consumer, you explain what are intermediaries, you explain what are competitors, you explain what are regulators, you explain what are strategic strategic allies, and you explain what is trade union. Okay, you should be able to identify the components of the market environment from given scenarios, statements, case studies, cartoon pictures, and motivate your answer. So you must know that. Let's look at intermediaries. Intermediaries, agents who help promote, sell, and distribute products to consumers. So they bridge the gap between the manufacturer and the consumer. So they make sure that there is no gap. By bridging, we mean there's no gap between the person who's manufacturing the product and people who are consuming. So people are able to get access to a product that has been manufactured. So intermediaries bring the product and service within reach to consumers, and marketing intermediaries are wholesalers, retailers, parsers, agents, brokers, and representatives. So I hope you understand. When they say discuss, outline, explain, describe, you name the components and then explain them. You can do it in your own words. You don't have to gram with business studies. Understand your work to make things easy for you. And then here we're going to talk about lower order questions and middle lower. With explain other organizations or civil society. So you can also be asked to explain what are other organization or civil society. So the question could be posed as either a lower or a middle order question. Give example of other organizations / civil society will be lower order question, and explain, outline examples of other organizations, civil society will be a middle order question. So how about when they say give examples, you just list. But when they say explain and outline, you give examples, you name the civil societies and explain them. Okay, so describing and outlining, you name and explain, but only give example or list, you only will write unions, NGOs, regulators, and community-based organizations. So that is the explanation of them. Look at the highlighted areas. So that is an example of each organizational of each of other organizations that can influence the business in the market environment. Opportunities and threats in the business context. So another thing that is in the market environment you can be assessed with is opportunities and threats. So in a business context, opportunities and threats lie outside the business. They are external factors, but strengths and weaknesses are within the business. Okay, so check out my previous video again on that. I went quite deep in it. So opportunities are any factor in the external environment that will contribute or is already contribute to the improvement of the business. So businesses need to constantly seek opportunities in their external environments in order for them to remain in business. Okay, so you should know which are opportunities. Opportunities are everything that might have a positive impact on the business, but it's not the business itself. So when taxes decrease, people will be able to buy more. Closing of a competitor's business, when your competitor closes their business, meaning all the customers will come to you, and a decrease in income in interest rates. So threats in a business context will be increase in taxes, new businesses offering similar product is established, and increase in interest rates. So threat is a opposite of opportunity. It's a bad thing for the business. Let's go to macro environment. Macro environment, you can be asked to explain what is micro environment. Macro environment. So macro environment refers to the environment of the the keywords are the micro environment refers to the environment outside of the business, with everything outside of the business. The microenvironment is also known as the external environment, and business has no control over this environment. So what you know that you have to know is that it's the environment outside of the business. It is known as an external environment, and the business has no control. So components: political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. So their business has no control over it. So you can remember the components as Pascal. Okay, that is another useful tip, how you can remember the components of the macro environment. So, reasons why macro environment can be a challenge to business, because businesses have no control over the macro environment. That is why it can be a challenge to the business. Okay, so you have to know why it's not. Guys, you have to come up with your own explanations, but you need to keep keywords. So this is a structure that you can fill those dotted line to make this completely yours. So let's look at components of the macro environment and practical example, which means here you have to match. We have political. Political can go up with policies and laws made by government, strike, protests, and corruption, interest rates, unemployment, crime, gangsterism, poverty, 3D printing, wireless communication, smartphone application, cloud store, Basic Conditions of Employment Act, Labor Relations Act, National Credit Act, Consumer Protection Act, broad-based Black economic empowerment, pollution, electric cars, plastic taxes. We also have the economy here. And then we have social. So everything is still linked. Everything is political. Refers to policies, laws made by government. Economy, interest rates, taxes. Social is unemployment, crime and gangsterism and poverty. With technology, we have 3D printing, wireless communication, smartphone application, and cloud storage. With legal, we have those acts, and then environment, we have pollution, electric cars, and plastic taxes. So you don't have to match, they are already matched for you. Reason why each component feature poses a challenge to the business. So you will be asked, how does political pose a challenge to business? Change in government often result in changes that may affect a business. So when the political party goes down, their term is over, there's so much uncertainty for the business on what is the next political party is going to impose on businesses. So with the economy, rising cost due to inflation, petrol price could affect businesses negatively. They could affect the business profitability. Okay, and then we have social. Customers may not be able to afford product because of low income levels. Social issues, decreasing spending and business profitability. So you just look at that and know what each component is about, and then you will be able to know the challenge that that component can cause. So guys, that is how straightforward this is. You don't have to crack your head. So these are difference between management and leadership. I also did a video. Management is direct human behavior, manages task to reach a target. So I have done that. I'm not going to be doing that here, but this is a summary for you. Management are appointed, leaders are born. That's what you have to know. So leaders do a better job than managers. You see, that's the picture. Leaders are always at the front doing what is expected of the people, but managers just sending you up to work. So the 8 business function, general management, purchasing, production, marketing, human resource, public relations, administration, and finance. So a business function refers to the various activities performed by the business. I've covered that as well. So use the first letters of the 8 functions to make a phrase or sentence that will help you remember them. This study technique is known as mnemonic. For example, good people play music, honest people admit failure. So you just use the first words of this phrase to know which business function is being talked about. So with regards to the business functions, you can be asked to state, outline, explain, discuss the 3 levels of general management. So in general management, we have top level management, middle management, and lower level management. Okay, The top level management oversee the activities of other functions. The middle are responsible for specific tasks within a business, make medium-term decisions. Lower management focus on controlling and implementing the activities of controlling and monitoring the activities of employees. Now we're going to look at the tasks of management. You can be asked to explain, discuss, or describe them. Yes, these are the tasks of management: planning, organizing, leading, and control. And here they've had risk management is the management's duty to manage risks. But let's stick to this for now. Planning is deciding as a management what needs to be done. Organizing is assigning each function what it has to do. You have planned, we are going to sell fat cakes, who are going to make the fat cakes, sell them. So that is organizing, when you are giving tasks to each business function. Leading is telling the business functions what they must do and making sure they implement them. And then controlling is making sure that everything has been implemented. So when you're talking about risk management, it's how management will be able to limit risks that may occur in the business. How are they going to tackle or how are they going to solve or stop risks from occurring? So factors that influence the organizational structure. You can be asked that. No, factors that influence the organizational structure is the size of the company, technology, resources, strategic goals of the business. Guys, this is such a great thing. So you can just look at this video before you write. Even in term 2, when you are revising, just come to this video, revise, and then you'll be able to ace your paper 1, because everything you did in term 1 will be paper 1 in June. So you are done with paper 1 basically by just coming to look at this video. So 3 types of organizational structure. We have a functional structure, project structure, and matrix structure. So remember, keep that in mind. Okay, and then there are activities of administration function. So what are the activities of administration function? Remember, administration function is that function that keeps all information of the business. So these are the functions: management of information, handling of information, office practice, and information technology. And here are the explanation on your right hand side. You can do that. You're very bright students. So it's just for you to know and explain. What is management of information? Is recording, keeping all business transactions up to date. Handling is information is collected from both outside and inside the business. So it's very easy. You should be able to identify these activities of the administration function from given statements, scenarios, and case studies. So the purpose of financial function is the financial functions determine how much money the business needs, establish the how for acquiring the capital, discuss how the funds will be used in the business, ensure that businesses can generate enough income to cover the cost of raising capital. Okay, prepare financial statements to present to the bank investors to convince them that the business is financially healthy. So types of sources of funding, you have to know types of sources of funding. You can get funding from your friends, your relatives, from the bank, from grants, and also from your own savings. So it's another way. Source of funding is how do you fund a business. So if you want to start a business now, think, where will you go to get money? There you have your answers. You see, business studies is very easy, very, very easy. You just have to use your head, read and know your stuff, understand concepts. Okay, so here they just did bank loans, overdrafts, asset-based loans, and grants. And then so you can also be asked to explain the difference between your own and borrowed capital. Your own capital is capital that you had saved up and you are bringing into the business. Borrowed capital is capital that you got from someone else or from a different organization. So you need to know how the purpose of purchasing function. Purchasing function, they buy everything inside the business. Everything that has to be bought in an organization, the purchasing function is the one that buys. Okay. So if marketing needs stationery, the purchasing function will buy for them. If production needs raw material to produce, purchasing functions will buy for them. So the purchasing functions manages stock to ensure that adequate stock levels are there to carry out business operations. So you make sure that the stock level is always correct. They know when to order, and continuously looking for the best reputable supplier. So they help the business look for suppliers, make regular contacts with other business departments to determine their needs. What do they have to buy? And then they send received goods back to the supplier. They sent damaged goods, back to the supplier and see to it that it is replaced. So everything, if it's damaged, they have to return it. So they receive confirmation that all goods were according to order, and the price invoiced as the quoted price. So everything is the price that was charged is the one that is on the quotation. You also need to know the purchasing procedure. How do you purchase? Determine the need for a product, number 1. Determine the price of the product, number 2. Number 3, choose a suitable supplier. Number 4, place the order. 5, collect, receive the order. 6, pay the supplier. 7, distribute stock. And 8, complete the order. That is the purchasing procedure. So we're going to look at the importance of stock control. Why stock should be controlled. It enables the business to determine the number of stock. The business can check the cost and selling price of products, ensure that there is enough stock to meet normal orders of customers, keep the correct level of stock on hand, and keep a record of the cost, price, and selling price of stock to identify theft in the business when physical stock count is compared with the electronic stock control system. So that is why. So you need to know the purpose of National Credit Act and Consumer Protection Act. I have videos that I did for grade 12. It's National Credit Act and National Consumer Protection Act. Just look at those, exactly the same for grade 12 and grade 10. The importance of public relations functions. So the public relations functions is responsible of making sure that the business has a clean image. They make sure that everything of the business is extremely good and it has a good image. So there is internal and external public relations. So internal public relations is making sure the relationship between management and the people at the bottom is in good terms. So they make sure that they have a healthy relationship. That is it as internal public relations, to make sure that everybody in the organization gets along. And then external public relations is that people outside the business, consumers, people, everything in the market, components of the market environment actually gets along with the business. Okay, it gets along with competitors, customers, suppliers, other people outside, civil societies, and all. So that is external public public relations. Yes, it's relationshiping of the business and other stakeholders. So methods of carrying out public relations. How the business does public relations is through the media, having social media accounts. Okay, going to do social responsibility campaigns, going to help build a school, clean a town, or what. If a certain business goes and clean a town in your area, you people just likes the business, or it's buying school shoes for children in the area. Okay, direct contact, the business going out to talk to people, or transit advertising, brochures, printing pamphlets to give to everybody, use of telephones, sending emails. If you had bought from the business and they have your contact, they send you, or exhibitions where it's a showroom, they invite people to come and see what they offer. All right, thank you very much for watching. I will end here. On the next video, which will be next week, same time, same place, I will do interrelationships between environment and the concept of quality. That will be the last one. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next one.